can't see you, we feel you up here, just speaking for all of us panelists. So just really excited to join us. So we're going to start by...
Keep it down, okay, guys?
I just wanted to introduce everybody here on the panel. And I'm going to start with, we have Shailene and Lori Woodley here who started All It Takes. And they're the ones that are making tonight possible. So just a special thanks to you both for doing this. And we have Cara DeLevine as well, who's joining us, and Dr. Michael Young, who's a clinical psychologist. He'll be on soon. From the film, who you'll recognize from the scene out at the ski shop, Max White. He's 21 and he's going to school. And then we have several All It Takes mentors and members that are here with us tonight. So we have Alexa Betwarda, she's 16 and from California. We have Kendrick Eagle, he's 27 and from North Dakota, and he's been with All It Takes for 4 years now. Dylan Burrett, 16 from California. He's been with All It Takes for 5 years, and we have All It Takes for 5 years. So we've got some great All It Takes insiders here that are going to join us on the panel. So I'm just going to kick it off by introducing myself and telling you just a little bit about the inspiration behind the film. And then we're going to dive into hearing everybody's stories that hopefully people out there can really resonate with. And so my name is Karen Gornick, and I'm one of the producers of the film Angst. I have been working on social impact films for almost 30 years, but this film means probably the most to me personally. I'm also a mom, and when Sheila Andreen and I kicked off making this film, my teenage son, was in crisis. He was really struggling with anxiety, but I didn't know at the time that that's what he was dealing with. And it felt like a race against time to try to figure out what was going on before I'd lose him. And on December 3rd, 2015, I almost did lose him, which was terrible and traumatic at the time. And yet at the same time, it was the very thing that helped us launch into getting help. And so my son ended up at a therapeutic boarding school in Utah, and we learned a lot about family therapy. And I learned about my own anxiety as a parent and how much my anxiety was affecting his. And so that's one reason I thought it was talk about that dynamic between parent and teen and how we can help each other. And so that really launches me to the next really important point here, which is when I met Lori and learned about what All It Takes is offering and what they're doing and already been doing for 10 years, I just really thought this is the perfect partnership. I mean, how impactful. You know, they're helping teens and families learn the tools to actually have these conversations. And so tonight we're really going to get a taste of that. So I just want to launch right in and introduce you, have you start, Lori. Can you just share a little bit about, what is All It Takes? And, what made you resonate with Angst and want to bring this together?
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for the introduction, the why you made this film, and it's so important. I was watching some of the comments and the questions people are making during the film, and it does seem like no matter how old we are, we can resonate with something here for ourselves or someone else. And when I was first asked to be on a panel at a private school in Los Angeles to talk with parents, I came on and I was told when I got there, we're watching a film and that's what you're talking about. And I learned something. Oh, you should probably ask questions more, Lori, before you just say yes. Definitely big key. And because I didn't know the film I was going to be watching. And then I had this opportunity to watch Angst. And the next day I called from your website and said, how do I do a screening for All It Takes? And because so much of it resonates with me and with our messaging. So All It Takes, assists kids and parents to help kids and people and employers to help one another navigate life. And this whole, and do that successfully. And then also be able to successfully support our communities, whether that's families or the broader community or the world, whatever it is that we're called to do. And I really believe that what Angst does is it aligns with All It Takes in we need to start where we're at. And it didn't shame anybody for being where they are and who they are. And it gives an opportunity also for the hope and the belief in capacity. Like, we believe that everybody can do their lives, and that we need the skills. And first we get to start with the belief that that's true. and that's, and I think that getting help when we're in a really hard place helps us understand that we do have control over so much of our lives. So the film gives, you'd like to say, Karen, a lot, hope. And I believe that we all get to dream the dream we want to live and then find a way to live it. And so often we get caught in, whether we're youth or adults, we get caught in like being uncomfortable and unhappy, but we don't know something different. And sometimes it just needs a catalyst. And we don't need somebody to say, do this, do this, do this. I believe people are capable of figuring out what to do for them that resonates with them and their community and their lifestyle and, their family values. So there's an alignment in start where you are, know that there's something better if that's what do that. And All It Takes creates that for people. That's what we're about, creating an opportunity to explore our lives and to step into something that is everything we want it to be and more, and to get through the heart. This is, how do we get through this? Are we getting through it with grace and ease, or are we getting through it, fighting the entire way through with others tonight? So thank you, Karen. I'm really grateful to be here and that you saw the alignment for your film with us.
Well, I'm excited because I know we're going to be diving into giving some like real examples, especially with the teens that are working with you at All It Takes, about what has really helped them in working through this program, so people can really see that there is help and hope out there. So Shailene, I've got a couple of questions for you. I know that you started All It Takes with your mom about 10 years ago. And I just would love for you to share a little bit with us about how you see the work with All It Takes interweaving with mental health. You've really been open about your own mental health and making it a priority. And so just would love to hear a little bit about, how do you make it a priority in your life, and how do you see what All It Takes is doing interweaving with mental health?
Perfect. First of all, can you see me?
Yes. Can you see me?
I just can't see myself, so I didn't know if it was on. Second of all, is Cara on? Can you guys all see Cara? Yeah? Oh my!
I can see you.
Some people can, some people can't. Okay. So part of my anxiety is micromanaging technology. So there we go. I just want to make sure we're all groovy. My mom and I started All It Takes 10 years ago because we saw, my mom's was a middle school counselor at the time and a psychologist, and it was sort of our approach to bullying, because neither of us believe that a bully is a bully to be a bully, or because they're, someone who wants to be mean. It's that everyone's hurting and everybody has pain and suffering and trauma and doesn't necessarily.
Hot people.
Sure. Hi, that's Cara. I can't see. This is so funny. Technology gives me anxiety. That's how it kind of started, and it's morphed throughout the years into what it is now, and it's very much my mom's organization, and I just feel very lucky to be able to say, and honored to be able to say I helped start it, but it really is something that's her baby, and that she's groomed and growed she's groomed to be able to grow the way that it has. And for me, anxiety, I never thought I had anxiety. I never thought I had social anxiety. I'm an introvert. I love being by myself, but I also am in a career where being in front of a lot of people is a mandatory thing. It's something I love. However, my body started breaking down in my early 20s, and I couldn't exactly figure out why initially things were happening to me when they weren't happening to people around me that I was working with, or why I was having extreme stress, or why my physical body was my greatest marker. And it took many, many years of, doing the Western sort of medical doctor thing, but then also going internal and studying my mind And for me, my in was through science, because science is something that fascinates me and helps me rationalize everything. So through the study for myself of physics and quantum physics and not to get too deep into that, I started realizing that I was taking this really long roundabout way to comprehend that I just had simple basic anxiety, and that I didn't have any tools with how to cope with that, because I didn't have the typical symptoms of anxiety that most people talk about. My symptoms were kind of a silent killer. And so I think, mental health for me the conversation came into my life because of physical health. And now I really do believe that the mind-body connection and the focus on the mind is the greatest gift and tool we can give to anyone, because if, we're born alone and we die alone. And it's pretty sad to think that so many of us live such miserable, traumatic lives inside of our heads, no matter what the world sees us as, no matter how positive we may seem or how okay we may seem. A lot of us are slowly, killing ourselves by being our own worst enemies, by not knowing how to simply take care of our mental health. So that's where my passion for this came from.
Well, it's, I've already had a few questions come in about the silent suffering, and so I'm looking forward to addressing some of those. It's something we just spoke of now. And sometimes and then the film shows that too, that it's some of the signs and symptoms of our anxiety are things that we wouldn't think, like stomach aches and headaches. So anxiety can really creep up in a lot of different ways physically. Do we have, I can't see Dr. Young, is he on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm so glad. I'm so excited for you all to meet Dr. Young. We've worked together on different panels over the years, and he has so much to offer. So, Dr. Young, you're a clinical psychologist. You work with youth and families, and right now we're dealing with a lot of extra anxiety. I mean, the UN just mentioned countries to add mental health as part of a program for us recovering from COVID. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about earthquakes and relating what we're dealing with to that. Can you share a little bit for people what it is I'm talking about? You'll be coming on here in a second.
I'm unmuted now, am I not?
Yes.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Shailene, you might.
I can't see him or hear him, so.
You can't see me? Hello?
You're good, Dr. Young. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. I could have used a micromanager of technology. This is the third room I've been in trying to get a signal, a Wi-Fi signal.
Is this mic on? Well, while we're waiting, we're going to come back. Go ahead.
Karen, we can hear him, Karen. We're good. He was good.
Hello?
Hey, others can hear me? Yes? Some people can hear me. Okay. Lots of trouble with technology. Okay. So I'm so appreciative to be involved with this project. Karen has been amazing. I've been on several panel discussions at this point. I missed watching the movie today because I had to leave my office about a half an hour away to get back home because the Wi-Fi wasn't cooperating. I had a chance to meet Lori. Lori, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Meet Lori virtually in the past few days, and Karen and Lori are people that I call activators. When you meet them, there's this electrical charge. They make you just want to help and do things. So getting back to Karen's question about earthquake metaphor. In my work, I try to use metaphor quite a bit with people. And I work with a lot of children, teenagers, and adults who have had some kind of crisis in life. And the way I look at crisis with them is to think about an earthquake. An earthquake usually comes on suddenly, and the things that you could count on, like the earth underneath you, the dishes in your house, people walking around normally, everything changes all of a sudden because everything is unstable and it's scary. And you have to reach for something to hold on to. And I use that metaphor with people who've been through, families who've been through divorce, any kind of loss, crisis where things suddenly change, and you're looking for pillars of support, places that help people and places that help you feel secure. And with families, you hope that the parents or the caregivers are pillars of support to help children feel secure if they're going through a crisis. It's not always the case. Sometimes there's a teacher or a relative or a friend who can be your pillar of support, to whom you turn when things feel very unstable. And what we're going through right now with the COVID-19 pandemic has hit everyone. And it's exacerbated conditions that people experienced before the pandemic hit. That's one of the things that Lori and I talked about the other day. Pre-existing conditions. If you were dealing with anxiety before the pandemic hit, before quarantining, your anxiety tends to be exacerbated or exaggerated at this point. It doesn't mean that it's new. It's just that this occasion, this crisis, has brought about heightened anxiety. So a lot of people are going through added stress. They're trying to figure out how to deal with being in the same household with family members for 2 months, being able to go out. And hopefully films like Angst are one way to help people start to talk about these issues and normalize mental health issues so that it's at least on the same level with medical health issues, other medical issues.
Karen, thank you.
Karen,
thank
I'm done.
Thank you, Dr. Young, so much. Karen, Dr. Young is finished saying his beautiful things that he says.
I can hear him, so I'm feeling pretty blind, but that's okay. It's all part of this.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Young. Let's jump to Max. Max, I worked with you, gosh, I think it was about 3 years ago that we filmed you for Angst. And you were so brave. You were at the therapeutic boarding school when I met you. And what you did by being in this film and doing that exposure therapy was like an exposure in itself. I mean, it was incredibly vulnerable. So can you share a little bit with us about why you were willing to do it and then how your life is really different now?
Max?
Okay, more technological anxiety. He said in our group chain, for everyone watching, bear with us, that he's not in there, and can we see him? And there's two, yeah. So he's
Oh yeah, there we go. That's better.
popping up, but no Max.
Okay, you can't see Max? Let's go back. All right, well, Max, we're coming back to you. We're going to come back to you. But you know what, since I can see Cara, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And obviously anxiety is on the rise right now. And it just really gives us a chance to shed some light around this issue. And you have just been really open about mental health and talking about it. Can you share with us a little bit about why you think it's important to talk about it?
If you can see me, I'm twizzling my hair right here. I am a very, like humans, we think a lot. Much. Our brain can be our worst enemies, and that's the problem with anxiety, is it all revolves around thinking. Much physical sickness, because you could just think yourself sick. That's what anxiety is. It's horrible. You spin yourself into a circle, and for me, I have been able and been lucky enough to find ways of nature is one of the best ways, and also when you lose yourself in moments where you're like either joy or breathing, again, focusing on your body instead of your head, putting yourself into your, like, feeling your feet, actually, like, feeling your feet, every single part of your body, like, feeling it instead of in your head. It just helps a lot. But anxiety is just, everyone has it, right? It's just, it should be spoken about, it should be talked about. But I was actually also I have a lot of I have an autoimmune disease called psoriasis, which is from the pace of the like cortisol or fight or flight, and I kind of revolve around stress a little. It'd be nice to be able to take a step back and just breathe myself and just be free. And yeah. Whoa.
Thank you. So I don't know.
So, Karen, I'm going to just jump in and address the anxiety in this technology room that we're all doing here. Some people who are saying they can't see some people, and so we're doing the best. I just wanted to say that, like, it's going to